What if I told you that the greatest enemy to your financial freedom is not the economy, not your boss, and not the balance in your bank account? What if I told you that there is an invisible wall standing between you and the abundance you deserve, and that wall was built by your own mind years ago without your permission? Right now, as you listen to this, you are standing at the precipice of a profound realization that has the power to shatter that wall forever. We are not here to discuss surface-level tactics or temporary motivation. We are here to perform a surgical operation on your consciousness because the reality you see around you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the programming within you. You have likely spent years trying to change the reflection in the mirror by working harder, struggling longer, and sacrificing your peace, yet the image remains the same. That ends today. To understand how we are going to change your financial destiny in the next 21 days, we must first understand the mechanism that has kept you stuck. There is a fundamental law of the universe that dictates that life is not a battle of hard work against the world, but a game of boomerangs. What you send out in thought, word, and belief must inevitably return to you with mathematical precision. However, most people believe they are sending out thoughts of desire for wealth, when, in reality, they are broadcasting a deafening frequency of lack. This happens because of the conflict between the two distinct parts of your mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the captain of your ship. It is the part of you that thinks, analyzes, looks at your bills, and decides you want to be rich. It is the part of you that says, I want more money, but the captain does not power the ship. The ship is powered by the engine room, which is your subconscious mind. The subconscious is a massive, powerful, unquestioning force that controls 90% of your life. It does not think or analyze, it simply obeys the orders it has been given over a lifetime. Here is the tragedy of the modern individual. Your conscious captain is screaming, full speed ahead, toward wealth. But the engine room is rigged with a program that says, money is dangerous, or we are not the kind of people who have money. No matter how loud the captain shouts, if the engines are set to reverse, the ship will not move forward. This explains why you can work 70 hours a week, have the best intentions, and possess immense talent, yet still find yourself trapped in a cycle of just enough or financial struggle. You are fighting a war against your own internal programming, and willpower is not enough to win this war. Willpower is a function of the conscious mind, and it is a finite resource. You cannot fight a subconscious program with conscious willpower any more than you can hold back the tide with a spoon. You must change the program itself. Let us look deeper into how this corrupted programming was installed. When you were a child, your conscious mind, the guardian at the gate, had not yet developed. You were in a state of pure absorption. Everything you heard about money, every argument your parents had about bills, every sigh of resignation, every phrase like, money doesn't grow on trees or rich people are greedy, bypassed your logic and went straight into the engine room of your subconscious. These were not just words. They became the blueprint of your reality. Your subconscious accepted them as absolute truths. Now, as an adult, even though you consciously desire wealth, your subconscious views wealth as a threat to that established blueprint. Since its primary job is to protect you and keep your reality consistent with your beliefs, it actively sabotages your efforts to succeed. It creates anxiety when you have extra money, forcing you to spend it. It blinds you to opportunities that are right in front of your face. It keeps you in a vibration of struggle, because struggle is what it knows as home. This brings us to the core of why this specific audio transmission is different from anything you have tried before. Most people try to change their minds through intellectual effort. They read books, they study strategies, and they try to convince themselves logically that they can be rich. But logic bounces off the subconscious mind like a pebble off a tank. The conscious mind acts as a critical factor, a gatekeeper that rejects any information that does not match your current belief system. If you stand in front of a mirror and aggressively shout, "I am a millionaire," while your bank account is empty, your conscious gatekeeper immediately shouts back, No, you are not. You are broke. The affirmation is rejected, and the conflict actually reinforces the feeling of lack. This is why standard positive thinking often fails. It creates an internal war. To install a new program of prosperity, we must bypass the gatekeeper entirely. We must slip past the critical conscious mind and deliver the message directly to the engine room where it can be accepted as a new command. This is where the science of brainwaves comes into play. When you are fully awake, alert, and stressed about your finances, your brain is in a beta state. This is the state of high alert, analysis, and resistance. In this state, the gate is locked tight. However, as you relax, as you rest, or as you drift toward sleep, your brain waves slow down into alpha and theta states. This is the twilight zone of the mind. In these states, the conscious gatekeeper becomes drowsy and steps aside. The critical barrier dissolves. This is the magic window where the subconscious becomes accessible and highly suggestible. It is in this state that we can plant the seeds of "I am wealthy and money flows to me" without the conscious mind arguing back. This is the principle of non-resistance. We are not forcing wealth upon the mind. We are allowing the mind to absorb wealth consciousness by lowering the defenses. The transcript and method we are using are designed to induce this specific receptive state. By listening to these truths while you are relaxed, distracting your conscious mind, or even sleeping, you are utilizing the most powerful learning state known to human psychology. You are not trying to memorize the words. In fact, trying too hard is counterproductive because trying involves the conscious mind. We want you to stop trying and start allowing. We are using the law of repetition to wear down the old neural pathways of scarcity and build new highways of abundance. Neuroscience tells us that neurons that fire together wire together. For years, your neurons have fired in a pattern of stress equals money. We are going to interrupt that signal. We are going to bombard your subconscious with a new signal. Relaxation equals abundance. When you commit to this process for 21 days, you are engaging in biological and spiritual restructuring. It takes approximately 21 days to form the foundation of a new neural network. In the first few days, your old programming will fight back. You might feel resistance, boredom, or skepticism. That is simply the old guard trying to protect its territory. But as you persist, as you continue to flood the engine room with these new commands of prosperity, a tipping point will occur. The subconscious, being impersonal and obedient, will eventually accept the new orders. It will stop looking for proof of poverty and start looking for proof of wealth. And here is the most beautiful part of this scientific mechanism. Once the subconscious accepts the idea of wealth as your new normal, it will move heaven and earth to make that your reality. It will regulate your energy to match the frequency of money. It will draw your attention to ideas you would have previously ignored. It will influence your behavior to take actions that lead to profit. It works automatically, just as it automatically kept you poor before. You must understand that money is not a solid object, it is energy. It is a current, which is why we call it currency. If your internal energy is blocked by walls of fear and unworthiness, the currency cannot flow to you, it flows around you. By engaging in this deep subconscious reprogramming, we are dissolving the blockages. We are tuning your internal radio station from the static of lack to the clear broadcast of abundance. This is why you do not need to figure out how the money will come right now. The how is the domain of the superconscious, the universal intelligence that orchestrates the details. Your only job is to set the what. Your job is to establish the unwavering vibration that you are already wealthy, that you are divinely provided for, and that abundance is your natural state. As we move into the practical application of this method, remember that this is a passive process on the surface, but a massive reconstruction project underneath. You are reprogramming your reticular activating system to spot value instead of obstacles. You are shifting your self-identity from a victim of circumstances to a master of your destiny. The external world is slow and heavy, so it may take a moment for the physical cash to catch up with your new consciousness. But the shift happens instantly in the mind. The moment you drop the resistance and allow these truths to penetrate the gatekeeper, the wall begins to crumble. You are reclaiming your power not through force, but through alignment. We are about to override the errors of the past and install the software of your future. This is not magic. This is spiritual law and psychological science, working in perfect harmony. You are ready to open the secret door to success, and that door opens inward. We have established that your subconscious mind is the engine room of your reality, and that deep relaxation is the doorway to accessing that engine. However, understanding the mechanism is only the first step. Knowledge alone is potential power, but it is not power itself until it is applied. We are now moving from the realm of theory into the realm of kinetic energy. We are moving from understanding the lock to actually turning the key. This brings us to the most critical junction of your journey toward financial freedom, which is the principle of active faith. There is an ancient spiritual axiom that states that faith without corresponding action is dead energy. You cannot simply wish for the wall of poverty to crumble. You must strike it. You must prove to your subconscious mind that you are not merely hoping for change, but that you are demanding it. This requires a tangible, physical seal on your intention. This is where we separate the dreamers from the achievers. To activate the full power of the prosperity programming you are about to undertake, you must engage in a ritual of commitment. This is not about boosting a social media metric or satisfying an algorithm. It is about the psychology of investment. The universe operates on the law of exchange. If you wish to receive the frequency of abundance, you must first emit the frequency of engagement. This is why I am asking you to perform 3 specific actions right now as a spiritual transaction with your own future. First, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Do not view this as a digital click. View it as you opening a channel of reception. By doing this, you are telling your subconscious that you are open to receiving constant reminders of wealth. You are setting up a dedicated pipeline for prosperity education to flow into your life. You are prioritizing your growth over your entertainment. Second, and this is an act of service which generates abundance, press the like button. Understand the metaphysics behind this simple motion. When you hoard information or opportunity, you constrict the flow of energy. When you share or support something that has value, you expand the flow. Your like is not for me. Your like is a signal to the collective consciousness that you want this teaching to reach others who are struggling. You are becoming a conduit for someone else's miracle. Perhaps someone who is working 3 jobs and losing hope will find this video because you engaged with it. By helping them find the path, you ensure that the path opens wider for you. You cannot keep what you are not willing to give. By endorsing prosperity for others, you claim it for yourself. Third, and this is the most vital step in sealing this contract, you must anchor your intent in the physical world through the written word. Thoughts are invisible and fleeting. They can be blown away by the winds of doubt. But the moment you write something down, you drag that thought from the invisible realm into the visible realm. You give it a body, you give it permanence. I want you to go to the comments section right now. Do not wait. I want you to write this specific decree. I commit to 21 days of prosperity programming starting today. Then, add your location. Why your location? Because it grounds your commitment in time and space. It tells the universe that right here, right now, in this specific city, a new center of wealth is being activated. When you make this public declaration, you create energetic accountability. You are no longer doing this in the shadows where it is safe to quit. You are standing in the light. You are joining a global field of thousands of others who are making the exact same pledge. You are tapping into a mastermind of collective intent. Your subconscious responds to public commitment far more powerfully than to private promises because the ego desires consistency. Once you have declared it to the world, your mind will work tirelessly to ensure you follow through so that you remain consistent with your word. Pause this audio if you must, but do not proceed until you have signed this contract with your own hand in the comments. This is your first act of a wealthy person. A wealthy person decides and then acts immediately. Now that you have sealed the contract, we must discuss the terms of this engagement. We are asking for 21 days. Why 21 days? This is not an arbitrary number pulled from thin air. It is rooted in the biological architecture of your brain. Your brain is a landscape of neural pathways. Think of your current poverty consciousness as a deep, well-worn canyon carved by a river over decades. The thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation flow down this canyon effortlessly because the path of least resistance is already established. To change your financial reality, we have to divert that river. We have to carve a new canyon of wealth consciousness. Neuroscience tells us that it takes a minimum of 21 days of repetitive, focused input to form the structural foundation of a new neural pathway. In the first few days of listening to this programming, you are essentially hacking through a dense jungle with a machete. It is hard work. The brush is thick. The old thoughts will try to grow back immediately. You might not see any external changes in your bank account during this first week. This is the danger zone where most people quit. They look at the mirror on day 4 and say nothing has happened, so this must not be working. That is a lie of the senses. Under the surface, the roots of your old beliefs are rotting and the seeds of your new reality are germinating. You cannot demand the harvest the day after you plant the seed. This brings us to the law of consistency. This process operates on momentum. Imagine a rocket ship trying to leave the atmosphere. It uses the vast majority of its fuel in the first few minutes just to break free from the pull of gravity. If the engines stop for even a second during that launch, the rocket does not just pause, it crashes back down to Earth. Your old poverty consciousness has a gravitational pull. It wants to keep you small. It wants to keep you safe in the known zone of struggle. If you listen for 3 days and then skip a day, you kill the momentum. You allow the gravity of your old life to pull you back down. You have to start the count over. You must reach escape velocity. 21 days is your escape velocity. It is the minimum time required to push past the gravitational pull of your past conditioning and enter the orbit of a new abundance. During these 21 days, you must be ruthless with your focus. You are not just listening to an audio track. You are administering a daily dose of medicine to a mind that has been infected with the virus of scarcity. You would not skip a dose of antibiotics if you were fighting a life-threatening infection. Do not skip a dose of prosperity programming when you are fighting for your financial life. Whether you listen while sleeping, while resting, or while working, the audio must play. The input must be delivered. The repetition is the key that picks the lock. You may experience resistance. Your ego may tell you this is foolish. Your logical mind may tell you it is boring. Your external circumstances may even seem to flare up and get chaotic for a moment. Do not fear this. This is called chemicalization. It is the reaction that happens when a new chemical element is introduced to an old solution. The fizzing and bubbling proves the reaction is taking place. If challenges arise, bless them as signs that the old structure is crumbling to make way for the new mansion of your life. Do not be moved by appearances. Keep your eyes on the 21-day horizon. This commitment is a binary choice. You are either fully in or you are fully out. There is no middle ground of trying it to see if it works. Trying implies the possibility of failure. Commitment implies the inevitability of success. By writing your pledge in the comments, by subscribing to the flow of this energy, you have initiated a chain of events that cannot be stopped unless you stop them. You have signaled to the creative intelligence of the universe that you are finally ready to be a vessel for wealth. You are no longer asking for permission to be rich. You are preparing your consciousness to contain riches. The universe cannot fill a vessel that is already full of doubt or a vessel that is constantly moving and unstable. Your consistency provides the stability. Your clearing of old beliefs provides the empty space. Now we are ready to pour in the gold. We are ready to begin the stories of transformation that prove this is not theory but repeatable scientific law. Prepare yourself. You have signed the contract. You have set the term. Now let us witness what happens when a human being truly aligns with the laws of abundance. The path is open. The work begins now. You have just signed the contract with the universe in the comments. You have set the term for 21 days. Now, before we step into the laboratory of life to witness the undeniable proof of how this works, there is one final seal you must place on this agreement. If you have not done so yet, press the subscribe button right now. Do not view this as a digital metric. View it as tuning your radio to the frequency of wealth. By subscribing, you are telling the algorithm of your life that you prioritize prosperity over distraction. You are ensuring that you do not lose this path in the noise of tomorrow. Join this community of conscious creators now. Seal your commitment. And now, let us look at the evidence that proves this law never fails. We have explored the mechanics of the mind and the necessity of the 21-day commitment. We have established that the subconscious is a programmable engine and that you are the architect of that program. But theory, no matter how scientifically sound or spiritually profound, is ultimately hollow without evidence. The human mind craves proof. It demands to know that these laws are not merely poetic metaphors, but are, in fact, functional principles that operate in the gritty, chaotic reality of modern life. You are not here to listen to fairy tales. You are here because you need a shift in your bank account, your career, and your daily experience. You need to know that if you invest your time and energy into this 21-day protocol, the universe will respond with tangible results. To satisfy this demand for evidence, we must step into the laboratory of life. We must examine the case studies of those who have walked this path before you. These are not legends from ancient history. These are contemporary accounts of ordinary people who face the exact same walls of limitation, debt, and fear that you might be facing right now. By dissecting their journeys, we will uncover the subtle yet inevitable progression of how a shift in consciousness translates into a shift in circumstances. We will look at two specific examples, a woman from Brazil and a man from Canada, not just to admire their success, but to deconstruct the anatomy of their miracles so you can replicate them. Let us begin with the case of the woman from Brazil. Her story is the perfect archetype of the hard work trap. 3 months before she discovered this method, she was living a life that many of you will recognize. She was holding down 2 separate jobs, working nearly 70 hours a week, yet she was barely surviving. She was trapped in the suffocating cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, where every dollar that came in was already spoken for by a debt that was waiting to go out. She was exhausted, she was hopeless, and she was filled with a simmering anger at the unfairness of life. She believed the lie that society tells us, that the only way to get more money is to trade more time and to suffer more. She was trading her life force for pennies, and the marketplace was not rewarding her sacrifice. She stumbled across this teaching of subconscious reprogramming, not because she was a believer, but because she was desperate. There is a profound power in desperation when it is channeled correctly. When you have hit rock bottom, you lose your arrogance. You lose the ego that thinks it knows how the world works. She was skeptical, but she was out of options, so she made the commitment you have just made. She decided to listen to the prosperity programming every night while she slept and every day during her brief moments of rest. The first 3 days of her journey reveal a critical truth about how this law operates. Externally, absolutely nothing happened. The bills were still high. The boss was still demanding. The fatigue was still present. If she had judged by appearances, she would have quit on day 4. But she did not. She continued because the audio became a sanctuary for her exhausted mind. By the end of the first week, something subtle but monumental occurred. It was not a change in her wallet. It was a change in her nervous system. She noticed that the constant, low-level hum of anxiety that had been the background noise of her life for years had gone silent. This is the first stage of all true manifestation. The internal shift. For years, she had walked into her workplace emitting the vibrational frequency of a victim. She radiated stress. She radiated, "I need this job." She radiated fear. People repel that energy. Management overlooks that energy, but as the prosperity programming washed over her subconscious night after night, it began to dissolve the fear. She started walking into work with a strange sense of calm. She started handling crises with a new authority. She wasn't trying to be confident, she was simply no longer afraid. Her subconscious was beginning to accept a new truth. I am divinely provided for. When you believe you are provided for, you stop acting like a beggar. By day 7, the external reality began to rearrange itself to match this new internal frequency. Her manager at her primary job, a person who had barely spoken 10 words to her in 2 years, approached her out of the blue. He told her that he had been watching her lately and noticed a change in her demeanor. He said she seemed more capable, more grounded. He offered her a promotion that she had not applied for. This promotion came with a 40% raise and a restructuring of her hours that allowed her to quit her second, soul-crushing job. Let us analyze this deeply. Did she suddenly become 40% smarter in 1 week? No. Did she acquire a new technical skill in 7 days? No. The only variable that changed was her consciousness. When her internal self-image shifted from struggling worker to valuable asset, the mirror of reality had no choice but to reflect that value back to her. But the law did not stop there. Once the flow began, it accelerated. By day 14, an old friend she hadn't heard from in years reached out with a freelance consulting opportunity. This single project paid her in 1 weekend what she used to make in 2 weeks at her second job. By the end of the 21-day cycle, her income had essentially doubled while her working hours had been cut in half. When she shared her testimony, she said something that cuts to the core of this philosophy. She said that the external changes were amazing, but the internal change was the real miracle. She said she no longer felt poor. She no longer thought like a struggling person. Abundance felt natural to her. This is the key. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. She became abundance, and the world had to yield. 4.4. Now, let us examine a different aspect of this law through the story of the carpenter from Canada. While the woman from Brazil illustrates the shift from struggle to ease, the carpenter illustrates the power of the hunch or intuitive guidance. This man was highly skilled at his trade. He could build anything with his hands, but he could not build a bank account. He suffered from a deep-seated blue-collar block. He had a subconscious belief that physical labor was the only way to earn money and that there was a hard ceiling on how much a man with a hammer could earn. He watched less talented people make fortunes while he scrapped for every contract. He felt unappreciated and stuck. He decided to test this 21-day protocol as a last-ditch effort. For the first 2 weeks, his experience was different from the woman's. He didn't just feel calm, he started getting ideas. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that when you pray for guidance or abundance, the universe often answers through a hunch, a sudden, irrational urge to do something or go somewhere. This man started having a nagging feeling that he should reach out to a specific former client. Logically, it made no sense. That client had been difficult in the past. His conscious mind argued against it, saying it was a waste of time. But the programming had opened his intuition, and the urge was undeniable. In week 3, he obeyed the hunch. He called the client. To his surprise, the client was in a bind and needed a major renovation done immediately. Now, here is where the subconscious reprogramming truly took over. In the past, this carpenter would have quoted a low price out of fear of losing the job. He would have undervalued himself to ensure he got the work. But as he sat down to write the quote, a new thought from his reprogrammed mind took over. The affirmation, "I am worthy of unlimited abundance," had taken root. His hand literally hesitated over the paper, and then he wrote a number that was 30% higher than his standard rate. He felt a wave of terror as he sent the email. His old poverty consciousness screamed that he had just blown the deal. But within 10 minutes, the client replied with one word. They didn't even negotiate. They just wanted the problem solved, and they perceived his high price as a signal of high quality. In that moment, the carpenter realized that his poverty had never been imposed on him by the market. It had been imposed on him by his own estimation of his worth. But the law of attraction is a law of momentum. One breakthrough leads to another. In week 4, a casual conversation with a supplier led to an introduction to a high-end luxury construction firm. Because the carpenter was now vibrating at the frequency of high value, he walked into that interview differently. He didn't beg for a job, he negotiated a partnership. He landed a position that paid double his previous best year. Within 60 days of starting the prosperity programming, his income had tripled. When he looked back on the process, he realized that the opportunities had always been there. The high-end firm had been hiring for months. The former client had needed help for weeks. But his old consciousness had blinded him to these paths. He was literally unable to see the doors of success because his belief system told him the doors were locked. The programming didn't create the firm or the client, it removed the blinders from his eyes. It gave him the courage to ask for what he was worth. These stories are not anomalies, they are demonstrations of the law of correspondence. As within, so without. Both the woman and the carpenter had to change the within before the without could move. Notice the timeline in both cases. It was not instant magic. It followed a biological and spiritual rhythm. Week 1 was the silent destruction of old anxiety. Week 2 was the accumulation of new energy and ideas. Week 3 was the physical manifestation of results. This is the gestation period of a miracle. Most people fail because they abort the process in week 1. They plant the seed, stare at the dirt for 3 days, see no sprout, and walk away claiming agriculture is a lie. You must be smarter than that. You must understand that the work you are doing in the dark of your subconscious is real work. When you are listening to this audio and you feel nothing happening, you must remember the carpenter. You must remember the woman from Brazil. You must realize that your own version of the promotion, your own version of the high-paying client, is already queuing up in the invisible realm, waiting for your frequency to stabilize enough to receive it. The skepticism you feel is natural, but it is irrelevant. The woman from Brazil was skeptical, yet she succeeded. The carpenter was doubtful, yet he succeeded. The law does not require your blind faith, it requires your compliance. It requires you to show up. It requires you to press play. It requires you to override the voice that says this is foolish with the action of continuing the practice. These stories prove that your background does not matter. Your education does not matter. The economy does not matter. The only thing that matters is the dominant program running in your subconscious mind. If a woman working 70 hours a week in debt can shift her reality, so can you. If a man who thought his value was limited to his manual labor can triple his income, so can you. The variable is not the world, the variable is you. As we prepare to move into the programming phase of this transmission, I want you to hold these stories in your mind, not as entertainment, but as prophecies. This is what is about to happen to you. You are the next case study. You are the next testimony. The same laws that lifted them are lifting you right now. The bridge has been built. The path has been cleared. Now you must simply walk it. We have arrived at the threshold of transformation, where the intellect must bow to the spirit and where analysis must give way to absorption. You have understood the mechanism of the mind. You have sealed your commitment with a sacred contract, and you have witnessed the evidence of those who have walked this path before you. Now the time for discussion is over, and the time for reconstruction begins. We are about to enter the operating room of your consciousness. For the next 20 minutes, you are not merely a listener, but a participant in a profound energetic alchemy. I am going to guide you through a series of divine commands. These are not passive wishes. They are aggressive, truth-filled statements designed to shatter the calcified layers of poverty thinking and expose the gold mine that has always existed within you. As we begin, I want you to shift your physical state. If you are sitting, sit with the dignity of a monarch who is about to inherit a kingdom, because that is exactly what you are. If you are lying down, surrender your weight completely to gravity and trust that the earth is holding you just as the universe supports your existence. You do not need to force these words into your mind. You do not need to strain to believe them. Your conscious mind may resist some of these statements because they contradict your current circumstances. That is expected. Treat your conscious mind like a child throwing a tantrum. Acknowledge it, but do not obey it. Your focus is on the feeling behind the words. Imagine these words are not coming from me, but are rising up from the deepest, wisest part of your own being. Let us begin the reprogramming of your identity. The first pillar of our reconstruction is the realization of your divine design. You were not created to struggle. The idea that poverty is spiritual is a lie that has kept good people small for centuries. You are an idea in the mind of the infinite, and an idea of the infinite cannot be bankrupt. A perfect creator does not create an imperfect creation. Therefore, your financial lack is not a reality, it is an illusion created by a distorted self-image. We are going to correct that image right now. Breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, release the identity of the struggler, release the identity of the victim, release the identity of the one who goes without. Those are costumes you have worn for too long. Take them off. Hear this truth, and let it resonate in your bones. I am a perfect expression of infinite abundance. I deny the reality of lack. I deny the power of debt. I deny the illusion of scarcity. These things have no authority over me because I am connected to the source of all supply. My mind is now a clear channel for the flow of divine riches. I am not waiting for wealth to come to me. I am acknowledging the wealth that is already within me. The gold in my pocket is merely a reflection of the gold in my consciousness. I am valuable. I am worthy. I am deserving. Not because of what I do, not because of how hard I work, but because of who I am. I am a child of the King, and the King's resources are my birthright. I accept my inheritance now. I stop apologizing for wanting more. I stop shrinking to make others comfortable. I expand. I rise. I shine. I am the open door through which the opulence of the universe walks into the physical world. Now we move to the second pillar, which is the destruction of the how. The greatest block to your wealth is your obsession with how it will arrive. You look at your job, your salary, your current clients, and you calculate that wealth is impossible. You are looking at the faucet and forgetting the reservoir. The universe has channels of supply that you cannot see, do not know, and could not imagine. When you dictate how money must come, you shut the door on miracles. We are going to tear down the walls of your expectations and open you to the infinite. Listen to these commands and open your mind to the unexpected. I tear down every wall of limitation I have built around my income. I stop telling the universe how to bless me. I command the doors of opportunity to fling open. I am now receiving money from expected channels, but more importantly, I am receiving money from unexpected channels. Unexpected checks are finding me. Unexpected refunds are locating me. Unexpected gifts are arriving at my doorstep. I release the need to figure it out. The how is the domain of infinite intelligence. My job is to be ready. My job is to be open. I am surprised by joy. I am startled by the speed of my success. I invite the magic back into my finances. Money comes to me from the north, south, east, and west. It comes in waves. It comes in avalanches. It comes in ways that make no logical sense because spiritual law transcends human logic. I am a magnet, and a magnet does not work hard to attract steel. It simply is what it is. I am a money magnet. We must now address the third pillar, which is the transmutation of fear into safety. Many of you push money away because deep down, your subconscious associates money with danger, evil, or loss. You fear that if you get it, you will lose it, or that people will judge you. You cannot attract what you fear. We must install a new program that says, wealth is safe, wealth is good, and you are safe with wealth. Internalize this declaration. I am safe with millions. Money is God in action. Money is simply energy waiting for my direction. I am a good person. Therefore, my money does good things. The more I have, the more I can help. The more I have, the more I can serve. I release the fear of envy. I release the fear of judgment. I wrap my finances in a cloak of divine protection. No one can steal my good because my good comes from God, and God cannot be robbed. I am at peace with high numbers. I look at my bank account without flinching. I look at my bills without trembling. I see every bill as a proof of my ability to pay. I bless my money as it goes out, and I bless it as it comes in. I am the master of money, not its slave. I stand tall in the presence of abundance. It feels natural to me. It feels normal to me. It feels like home. Now we approach the fourth pillar, which is the law of circulation. A clenched fist cannot receive. If you are hoarding every penny out of fear, you are telling the universe that there is no more coming. You are affirming lack with every act of stinginess. To be rich, you must act rich. This does not mean spending recklessly, it means spending fearlessly. It means trusting the flow. Affirm this with the courage of a warrior. I spend money with confidence and joy. I know that as I send money out, it creates a vacuum that must be filled with even more. I am a river, not a stagnant pond. The water flows through me freely. I pay my debts with gratitude, knowing that debt is simply a paid-for experience in the past, and I am now free. I give generously, I tip lavishly, I share openly. My generosity is my declaration of faith. I know that my supply is inexhaustible. I cannot drain the ocean with a teaspoon. I draw from the infinite. I cast my bread upon the waters, and it returns to me buttered. I break the chains of stinginess. I break the chains of worry. I live in the rhythm of opulent circulation. Inflow and outflow, breathing in and breathing out, perfect financial health. As we deepen this programming, we reach the final pillar, which is the state of it is done. This is the realm of the fourth dimension, the realm of imagination, where your wealth already exists. You are not trying to make it happen. You are realizing that it has already happened. The house is bought. The debt is zero. The account is overflowing. It is finished. Feel the reality of this truth. I walk in the finished work of my prosperity. I do not look for signs. I am the sign. I do not ask if it is coming. I know it is here. I feel the leather of the steering wheel of my new car. I smell the fresh paint of my new home. I feel the texture of the clothes that a wealthy person wears. It is real. It is solid. It is mine. I refuse to be moved by contrary appearances. If the world says recession, I say prosperity. If the world says lack, I say overflow. I walk by faith, not by sight. And because I hold this vision with unwavering steadiness, the world must reshape itself to fit my vision. I am the alchemist of my life. I turn the lead of my circumstances into the gold of my destiny. The past is dead. The struggle is a memory. The future is a glorious, golden adventure. Now, I want you to let these specific affirmations wash over you like a warm rain. Let them seep into the cracks of your mind. Let them drown out the old tapes. Listen to the rhythm. Listen to the authority. I am spiritually equipped to handle massive success. My mind is a fertile garden, and I plant only seeds of luxury and peace. I forgive everyone who has ever owed me money. I forgive myself for every financial mistake I have ever made. The slate is clean. The account is balanced. I am indistinguishable from abundance. When people look at me, they see the glow of a well-cared-for soul. I attract lucrative opportunities while I sleep. I attract brilliant partners who want to help me succeed. My intuition is the voice of the treasury, and I follow it blindly. I take inspired action. I move when the Spirit says move. I am bold. I am audacious. I am fearless. The universe loves a believer. The universe rewards a bold claim. I claim my mountain. I claim my estate. I am grateful. I am so incredibly grateful. Thank you for the money that is here. Thank you for the money that is coming. Thank you for the peace that surpasses understanding. As we near the end of this active programming session, allow your body to drift even deeper. You have done the heavy lifting. You have swung the hammer of truth against the wall of limitation. Now, let the dust settle. You are not the same person who started this video. A shift has occurred. A gear has turned in the great machinery of your subconscious. You may feel a tingling in your body, or a sense of lightness in your chest, or perhaps a profound, quiet drowsiness. These are the physical symptoms of a spiritual surgery. Do not try to analyze what just happened. Do not run to check your bank balance 5 minutes from now. You do not dig up a seed to see if it is growing. You water it with faith, and you let the sun do its work. Your job is done. The command has been given. The subconscious is a faithful servant. It must obey. It has no choice but to bring forth the wealth you have just decreed. Carry this feeling with you, this feeling of enoughness, this feeling of safety, this feeling of power. This is your new baseline. This is your new home frequency. Anytime you feel the old anxiety creeping back in during the day, simply touch your heart and say, "No, we do not live there anymore. We live here, in the overflow." You are a divine idea. You are a wealthy being. You are free. Rest in this truth. Soak in this truth. Let it become your flesh and blood. The programming is complete. The activation is successful. The miracle is in motion. As we slowly emerge from the depths of the subconscious operating room where we have just performed profound energetic surgery, it is vital that we do not simply rush back into the noise of the world without a map for what comes next. You have just engaged in a sacred act of reconstruction. You have swung the hammer of truth against the walls of limitation, and whether you consciously feel it yet or not, the vibration of your being has shifted. You are not the same person who pressed play on this video an hour ago. The old you was a seeker of wealth, hoping for a break. The new you is a generator of wealth, vibrating at the frequency of abundance. But the transition between these two identities is a delicate time. It is the twilight zone between the planting of the seed and the harvesting of the fruit. This is the period where most people fail because they do not understand the language of the universe. They look for the wrong signs, they misinterpret the feedback, and they abort the miracle just moments before it breaks the surface. To ensure you walk this 21-day path to its glorious conclusion, we must discuss the signs of transformation. You need to know exactly what to expect when you start rewriting the code of your mind. The universe does not always speak in thunder and lightning. Often, it speaks in subtle shifts and quiet whispers. If you are only looking for a winning lottery ticket, you might miss the 1,000 other ways abundance is trying to reach you. We will break down the 4 distinct stages of manifestation that you will likely experience over the coming days and weeks. Understanding these stages will be your armor against doubt and your compass through the fog of your old reality. The first and most reliable sign that the programming has taken root is not financial, it is emotional. We call this the stage of neutrality. For years, your relationship with money has likely been charged with high-voltage negative emotion. You felt a spike of adrenaline when a bill arrived. You felt a pit in your stomach when you checked your bank balance. You felt a pang of jealousy when you saw someone else succeeding. These were the emotional hooks that kept you tethered to poverty. As this new programming begins to saturate your engine room, you will notice a strange and beautiful phenomenon. The hooks will disappear. You will look at a bill and instead of panic, you will feel a quiet, detached calm. You will realize that the bill is just a piece of paper and the debt is just a number, and neither has the power to destroy your inner peace. This feeling of relief is the land ahoy signal. It means your subconscious has stopped fighting the war. It means the belief that I am provided for has become stronger than the belief I am in danger. Do not underestimate this peace. It is the precursor to power. You cannot attract wealth from a state of desperation, so when the desperation vanishes, know that the wealth is rushing in to fill the void. You might find yourself smiling for no reason. You might feel a lightness in your chest, as if a heavy coat has been taken off your shoulders. Celebrate this. It is the evidence of things not seen. It is the internal reality solidifying before the external reality catches up. The second stage is often the most confusing, and it is the primary reason I am giving you this detailed map. It is called Chemicalization. When you pour clean, clear water into a glass filled with muddy water, the mud does not just disappear instantly. It gets stirred up. The water becomes cloudy and chaotic for a moment as the impurities are flushed to the surface to be expelled. The same thing happens in your life. When you introduce the high-frequency energy of abundance into a life built on low-frequency scarcity, there may be a temporary period of chaos. You might face a sudden unexpected expense. You might have an argument with a partner about money. You might feel a sudden wave of intense doubt or fear. Do not panic. I repeat, do not panic. This is not a sign that the method is failing. This is the ultimate sign that the method is working violently well. Your old reality is breaking apart to make room for the new. The dust is flying because you are remodeling the house. If you face a challenge in the first week of this practice, look at it squarely and say, I see you. You are just the old program leaving my body. You have no power over me. If you react with fear, you hold on to the old. If you react with faith and non-resistance, the chaos clears rapidly and the new order establishes itself. This chemicalization is the death rattle of your poverty. Let it die. The third stage is the arrival of the hunch and synchronicities. This is where the magic begins to bleed into the physical world. You will start to see the number sequences associated with abundance. You will overhear conversations about business opportunities in coffee shops. You will find money on the street. These are the winks from the universe. But more importantly, you will receive the hunch. As we discussed with the carpenter in the earlier section, a hunch is a sudden, irrational urge to act. It is intuition bypassing logic. You might get a sudden urge to drive a different way to work, and on that route, you see a help wanted sign for your dream job. You might get a sudden urge to call an old friend, and that friend happens to be looking for a business partner. When these hunches come, you must act. This is the active part of active faith. You are not just a passive receiver, you are a co-creator. When the wind of intuition fills your sails, you must steer the ship. Do not analyze the hunch. Do not ask for a spreadsheet of reasons why you should do it. Logic is too slow for magic. Follow the nudge. It is the golden thread leading you out of the labyrinth. The fourth stage is physical manifestation. This is the harvest. This is when the check arrives, the sale is made, the debt is canceled, the promotion is granted. It often happens in the most natural way possible. In fact, it often feels so natural that you might be tempted to call it luck. You might say, "Oh, that would have happened anyway." No, it would not have. It happened because you became the person who attracts it. When the money comes, acknowledge it. Say thank you. Validate the process. The more you acknowledge the arrival of abundance, the more you reinforce the neural pathways that created it. Success breeds success. Now, as you stand at the beginning of this 21-day cycle, I must warn you against the greatest trap of all. Do not dig up the seeds. A farmer who plants a field of corn does not go out the next morning and dig up the soil to see if the roots are growing. If he does that, he kills the crop. Yet, that is exactly what you do when you worry, when you doubt, and when you constantly check for results with anxiety. You must live in the state of, "It is done." You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Go about your day with the quiet confidence of someone who has a secret trust fund. You don't need to see it to know it's there. This brings us back to the practical necessity of your commitment. We have asked for 21 days because that is the gestation period for a new habit of mind. You have signed the contract in the comments. You have engaged the energy. Now you must honor the timeline. There will be days when you are too tired. There will be days when you are too busy. There will be days when your ego tells you this is silly. Those are the test days. Those are the days that matter most. If you skip a day, you drop the ball of momentum and it rolls back to the bottom of the hill. Do not let that happen. Be ruthless with your discipline so you can be limitless in your freedom. I want you to think of this channel not just as a YouTube channel, but as a charging station for your soul. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you are ensuring that you do not run out of power. You are surrounding yourself with a digital environment that supports your new identity. We are building a community here, a collective consciousness of people who are refusing to participate in the recession, refusing to participate in the struggle, and choosing to opt out of the matrix of lack. Your subscription is your ticket to that community. Your comment is your voice in that choir. As we conclude this transmission, I want to leave you with a final blessing and a vision of what is possible. Imagine a life where your first thought in the morning is not, "How will I pay for this?" but "How will I enjoy this?" Imagine a life where your work is an expression of your joy, not a tax on your existence. Imagine a life where you are the person in your family who breaks the generational curse of poverty, the one who changes the trajectory of your lineage forever. This is not a fantasy. This is a potential reality that exists right now in the quantum field, waiting for you to collapse it into the physical world with your focus and your faith. You have the tools. You have the map. You have the power. The walls of your prison were made of smoke, and you have just walked through them. Do not look back at the old you. That person no longer exists. Walk forward into the light of your new destiny. Walk with your head high. Walk with your heart open. Walk with your hands ready to receive. The universe is not holding back. The floodgates are open. The only variable left is your willingness to let it in. Go forth from this experience and be the evidence. Be the miracle you are seeking. Let your life be the testimony that convinces others that there is a better way. I believe in you. The universe supports you. The laws of physics and spirit are aligned in your favor. It is done. It is sealed. It is yours. Rest now, or rise and conquer, knowing that the work has been completed in the mind, and the manifestation is inevitable in the world. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your commitment. I will see you here tomorrow for day 2. Peace, power, and prosperity be upon you, now and forever. Your journey has officially begun. But remember, a single day of programming is a start, not a finish. To fully rewire your mind, you need the full 21 days. Do not let this be the only time we meet. Ensure you are subscribed and your notifications are active so that tomorrow, when the world tries to pull you back into scarcity, this channel will be here to pull you back into abundance. Share this video with someone who needs this light. Be the catalyst for their miracle. I am waiting for your testimony. I will see you here tomorrow for day 2. It is done.